We're coming head on to these big buses, and then he just barely peels out of the way. Okay, today we're going to start a new series on the Expat Files, and what this is about is...
Basically, we're going to share with you funny stories, cautionary tales.
Starting out, we're going to do 2 cab rides from hell, the 2 most famous ones we've ever taken in all our years of traveling, and the crazy stories behind them. Cab ride number 1.
Cab ride number 1 started in Asia. So the company took us to this southern town in Korea. Mind you, this is pre-phones having GPS and computers being so readily available to everybody. So that most of the people in the town really didn't speak English. It was very rare to find somebody that did.
Oh, hardly at all.
Hardly at all. So that made it interesting. So on arrival, we were assigned an apartment from a company apartment, and we were handed a little card that looked about yay size with a bunch of writing that we couldn't understand because it was written in Korean. And for all we know, it said, "Hello, I'm stupid and I don't know how to speak Korean. Please take me back to my apartment and here's my address." Who knows what the card said, and I wish we would have saved it, but we didn't.
That would have been cool to find.
That would have been. But anyway, so we're supposed to carry this in our wallets at all times, anytime we exit the place, because otherwise we'll never get back to the apartment, or, you know, unless you really are good at directions and things like that. Yeah. Now, this place is where Hyundai Industries is. So there were many things that were labeled Hyundai. That was the only thing that we could read. Everything else was written in Korean. But that didn't even serve us as landmarks, because you could see a residential building that say Hyundai on it. You could see a commerce somewhere. Everything was Hyundai. But that was all we could understand. So we have taken already a few cab rides, and we hand over our little card, and we make it just fine back to the apartment. No big deal. Except one night we get out of this place called, you guessed it, Hyundai department store. So we leave, it's already in the evening, and we take a cab. Looks at the card, and he's like shaking his head like, oh, you know, whatever, which that should have already been assigned, but it wasn't. He turns his lights on to try to read it, because it was a small card.
Oh, I remember he got the glasses.
Yeah, he got his glasses in, and he's like doing this, and finally he takes off.
Yeah.
So off we go. And everything kind of looks familiar from the other cab rides. We're heading in the general right direction, and then all of a sudden he turns off the main road, and the area begins to look shadier and shadier as we begin to drive in there, and we're both looking at each other going, this is not the way. But how do you tell him this is not the way, because we don't speak each other's language? So we're like, well, maybe it's a shortcut, I don't know.
And there's no other cabs.
There's nothing because it's already nighttime. There's, I mean, not much we can do.
Oh, it's getting darker and darker and darker.
Yeah, it was just, anyway, so we get down this hill, and he sees a woman flagging the cab. So he pulls over because he's going to pick her up. And she's with some other people around her, so we don't know if it's only the woman that's going to get in the cab, if it's like, you know, one of those scams where, you know, they take you somewhere and then the accomplices get in the cab or whatever. So we begin to go, no. So he just frowningly just takes off.
Mumbling under his breath.
No. So he goes.
Yeah.
And he keeps driving, and we come to a cul-de-sac. He can't, so he needs to turn around. So he basically pulls to the side and begins to tell us to get out. And we're like, this is not it. This is not our place. Whatever, but he's signaling it for us to just get out. So we get out, Joe pays him, we get out, and we are in a section of town where they have like fisheries. So a bunch of stores like on each side of the street that were closed by then, but they, some of them had their fish tanks outside or things like that. That's how we knew there were fisheries. But it's dead in there because commerce is done. And then we begin to walk uphill now, and we have no idea where we are. And it's dark already. There's no one. Streets are deserted, and even if there was somebody, how are we gonna ask?
Yeah. Go knock on the door and say we don't speak your language.
Then we go by this dog, and he's just wrapped around this thin rope, and he's like running towards us. We can't see that he's attached to the rope. I'm like, I'm gonna be mauled to death now. But he stops just in time. We keep walking, we can hear him barking still at us, and we can hear other dogs barking at us. And we keep going. Finally, we make it to the main drag, but even though it's the main road, it's nighttime already, and there's really not much traffic. No cabs are going by there because this is kind of like residential. Even though those were the fisheries, I mean, the rest of everything around it, it's residential. There's nothing else. And so we just begin to walk, hoping we recognize something. And we don't even know if we're walking the right direction or not. Finally, he sees something, and he's like, okay, I think that it's this way. But we have to get off the main drag and begin to walk. And I'm just like, I'm hoping, oh my God, I hope that this is the right one, because otherwise basically we're going in, and God knows how long it's going to take us to make it back out to the main drag if this is not it. Make a long story longer.
In 1,000 words or more.
In 1,000 words or more. It took us about an hour and a half from the place where we got dropped off to finally find our apartment. But we found it. And that was an interesting evening where I thought I was gonna, that we were gonna get mugged, that we were gonna be mauled by
the dog. Dog food.
Or just plain lost in the city.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was just not good. So thank goodness for technology that we all have our GPSs on our phone, and we can drop a pin wherever we need to and make it back home, if you're ever in a case like that. But at that time, that was not fun, and that was crazy. So that's cab ride number 1.
All right. So cab ride number 2. Took some time off on a weekend. I got some free time where we could go travel and go tour. So we went to Capri, just off the coast of Naples. We went and toured the day, and we had everything, and we had seen a few other things, and so we wrapped everything up, and we knew that there was a time that we had to be back at the train station in Naples to be able to take the last train north or south or wherever it was, south, to get back to the town where I worked at in Taranto, so that I could actually go to work and work the night shift. So we were on Capri, jumped on the ferry, took the last ferry into Naples. We were cutting it real close. The ferry was taking a little bit longer than usual than we thought. So we get to the ferry terminal just off the coast of Naples. So we're starting right here, Capri, and we take the ferry to the port of Naples right there. And somewhere in here in the middle of the town of Naples is the train station. And Naples is lots and lots of streets, lots and lots of traffic, so we have to get there to here really quick because we were running late and we had to catch that train. So we get to the ferry terminal. We've already been talking about it. Okay, you get this. I'm gonna go run. I'm gonna go flag the first taxi down and everything like that. And so, boom, find this young guy. He's got his taxi. I said, hey, in my half Spanish, half Italian, and everything else English that didn't work in between. So we got to get to the train station. We have 2 o'clock train or whatever like that. Can we make it? No problem, no problems. Throw everything in the back of the cab. Boom, we go. Little did we know what we had in store for us. Boom, he puts the hammer down. He is screaming down the road. I mean, he's pulling left and right and weaving in and out of cars. Then it gets to the point where there's lots of traffic. Well, on the other side of the road, there's no traffic. He pulls into that one. He's just screaming down that side of the road.
Jumping a median.
Jumps the median, jumps back over the median, then back over into that other lane again. We're coming head on to these big buses, and then he just barely peels out of the way in time and gets back in and cuts people off, and they're like, ah, you know, and of course in the Italian way they're all screaming at each other, and he's like, ah, yeah, everything, you know, all the little hand signals and everything like that. And boom, we are like looking at each other like, oh my God. She's got her hand on me and she's just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing some more. And then we get to this stop, this four-way stop. He runs through there. There's a big truck, van, bus, whatever it is, coming on her side. She was on the right, I was on the left. She's just barely looking.
Far from my window.
Barely. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't scrape the paint off of his bus or his taxi or whatever it was, either way. And we are just going, and I look at her and she's just like sinking farther and farther and farther down in the back, and we're like going, oh my God, are we gonna live? And he's weaving and everything like that, and so time just seems to stand still. We have no concept.
No.
We have totally forgotten about, are we gonna get there on time?
Yeah, no.
It's more like, are we gonna be alive? We have 3 kids back at home. Your mom is taking care of them. It's just like, you know, our lives are flashing before our eyes. And finally we scream inside and you know, it's just the cars, and you think this is just like a movie or something like that. And then I remember we come down over the hill and he just kind of whips around in this little circle that's in front of the train, and it's just like, "Arr!" And he just looks back and he goes, "Va bene?" And we're like, ah, yes. I pay the guy, give him a tip. We get our bags out and we're just kind of like, dumbfounded, stumbling like, okay, train, yeah, we got to catch something. And then I look at the watch. We thought we were going to cut. We thought we were going to cut it so close to just be able to get out of the cab, run to the train, get on there. We were able to go buy food, go to McDonald's, stand in line, buy food, take a potty break for both of us, casually walk over to the train, get on the train, start getting our food out and eating it, and then the train takes off. He was like lightning fast, but
like beyond fast.
I don't know how many years off of our life he took, but that was the craziest cab ride.
Moral of the story is, don't ever tell an Italian cab.
Yes. Naples,
hurry up.
Naples is a little bit special too, because they have a lot of passion and fire. Yeah. That was the Naples cab ride from hell.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the beginning of the series. I hope you liked it. If you like the story, what do we need to do?
Like and subscribe and hit the bell, whichever place it actually happens to be. And that way you get notifications of when we are putting up our next video, so we can annoy you to come and watch it some more.
Exactly.
If you have a crazy story that you want to share, please put it in the comments below. We would love to hear and compare and hear other people's crazy stories from their travels too. So, look forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks. See you in the next video.